talk some Comic-Con because Aaron and Daryl were both at Comic-Con this year. We're going to talk about some video game stuff. We're going to talk about some interview stuff, and then whatever else just happens to come up that is not Batman versus Superman. So I think I will at this point, since Daryl and Aaron were at Comic-Con, I will turn it over to them because they will have the most insight for this episode for us to talk about.
Well, I was at Hall H on Friday. Hall H is the giant hall of Comic-Con where most of the major presentations happen. Fear the Walking Dead and Walking Dead both had back-to-back panels because Chris Hardwick doesn't want to walk that far. And Daryl, did you happen to make it to the Hall H panels for Walking Dead?
No, I was way back in the main floor. I never got over there.
Okay, so let me ask you. I'm going to interrupt right off the bat. So one of the things I noticed, Aaron,
right off the Lucille.
Yes. Oh, awesome! Man, I wish I would have thought of that. Oh, points. Now I'm going to be banned. So one of the things I saw you tweeting was like, "Hey, I just walked right into Hall H." Was it because you waited in line overnight? Was it because you had press access? Was it a combination of the above? Like, what was it like getting into Hall H in Comic-Con 2016?
Asking about press access is probably the cutest thing you could have said because no press access is nothing.
I know. I had to ask.
I know, but I just want having a press badge which I had for being a Comic-Con does not allow too much. Especially
you have to pay to get in.
Especially, that's pretty comfy. But as far as access to panels go, that means pretty much nothing, especially when it comes to Hall H. As far as me walking right in, what I tweeted, it was kind of in reference to a lot of major movie studios did not show up for Hall H this year for various reasons. Mainly because I think studios like Fox had nothing to show, but they want to chalk it up to too many people bootlegging their stuff and putting it online quickly. But I think because of that, there's kind of less of a large fan base that definitely needed to be in Hall H on various days, except for Saturday, which featured the panels for Warner Brothers and all their DC films and Marvel and everything in between those. But on Thursday and Friday, things are a lot more TV focused. And while there's obviously things popular such as The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones, which followed The Walking Dead, those things have their share of audiences, but it's not as kind of because the days aren't like stacked with all kinds of things to see. There is kind of there's only so many people that want to definitely be in these panels. So because of that, I didn't think there'd be too much of a crowd for Hall H, and so I just walked over, and sure enough, I was able to just walk right in. And no waiting in line. Saturday I did wait. I guess Friday I waited to get through the process involved to getting in on Saturday, but Saturday there was a waiting process. Friday not so much. So does that answer the question?
Yes. Thank you. Sorry for interrupting.
Oh, for sure. Don't mind having it.
I made no promises.
And don't touch me. So for the panels, we can talk about the trailers because I think we've all seen the trailers at this point. But I will say first off, for Fear the Walking Dead, Chris Hardwick came out. Of course, he was the moderator for these panels because why wouldn't he be? And the entire cast came out. For Fear the Walking, or at least most of the cast came out. There was no Ruben Blades present, but what are their names? Kim Dickens, Cliff Curtis, Coleman Domingo, Frank Delane. I got to make up more names as I go along here, but and the rest all came out on stage. They showed us. I mean, as far as seeing, so we saw the trailer, which the five of us can get into in a second. But they showed us a blooper reel for Fear the Walking Dead to show that things aren't so serious all the time. And the best part of this blooper reel, I don't want to expound too much on the highlights of blooper reels for Walking Dead shows, but Coleman Domingo is a fool. Like he was having a blast doing stuff and like dropping lines and whatnot. There's even a point where they showed him dancing up a storm while Michael Jackson's Beat It was playing. And they kind of edited a whole blooper around him dancing while Madison was like creeping up behind him to see what was going on. As far as insight for the Fear the Walking Dead panel, not a ton. I mean, you can imagine that Frank Delane's Nick is not the most thrilled when it comes to being covered in fake blood for those scenes, and he kind of expounded on that. The direction of the season, we can basically talk about the trailer, but we're going to be in Mexico a lot. New characters introduced, which again is in the trailer. Why don't we talk about the trailer? You guys all saw the trailer, I assume, right?
Yep. Oh yeah.
So as we all left off with Fear the Walking Dead, none of us were too plussed about it. Am I recalling that correctly? For those of us that actually stuck around for Fear the Walking Dead.
I believe not over under just whelmed.
Yeah. There you go. And AMC cuts a good trailer. I'll put it that way because I mean it's a solid trailer for the rest of the season of Fear the Walking Dead. I'd say.
I was impressed with the trailer. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if I got excited for Fear the Walking Dead, but I'm kind of looking forward to it. It looks like it could be interesting.
It certainly I use this knowing what it kind of implies and the kind of stats it has, but it certainly has an Empire Strikes Back feel as far as everyone's in disarray. They're trying to everyone's trying to get back together again. Things are kind of darker than ever. And I like that. I like as far as I was very concerned at where the show would be going following the first half because we had such a clear drive regardless of how much we liked the first half of the season. We had a clear drive as far as they're on a boat, they need to get to Mexico. Now they're in Mexico and like all hell broke loose and they're trying to find out what's next. And I was surprised to be engaged by what seems to be in store, where everyone's kind of in a different area. You have Strand and Madison and some of them in like some hotel. You have Cliff Curtis. I was forgetting Cliff Curtis' name, but you have him and his son
Travis,
thank you. And Chris, right? Travis and Chris. You have Travis and Chris dealing with Chris being a sociopath and whether or not he's going to be actually helpful. Then you have Nick discovering someone like around Tijuana area, and they have like their own kind of religious cult type thing going on as far as how to handle the walkers. And I want to know about all of these things. I was surprised, and it even looks good. Like the show never looks bad necessarily. I'll actually talk about that. The show has some issues here or there, but like there's some shots involving that hotel in particular that was like, oh, there looks like some creative filmmaking going on.
It does. The hotel thing was what really piqued my interest. That and the whole where it looks like that group was sacrificing people through a bus into a bunch of walkers or something. I don't know. That really piqued my interest. So,
and the character that leads that group is part of that group. She was on stage as well. I don't have I had notebooks that took me notes to make sure I could recap that stuff. But yeah, there's a new character involved in that group that involves Nick gets involved with those people. And yeah, it is. We saw like wherever Abigail was, the farm or whatnot. Just saying farm, right. Bad memories right there. But that whole like who's like what was her name? The mother of Abigail's like friend, right? She was like the leader of that.
Right. I can't remember her name either, but yeah.
Yeah. That was it. Celia, right?
Yeah.
Celia. We just got through that, and now this is like another kind of area in Mexico with people kind of emerging with ideas of how to handle the whole zombie outbreak and whatnot. And yeah, given that we've gone backwards in time on this series and need to once again learn about how people deal with the impending apocalypse or the arrival of the apocalypse, whatever they want to call it, it is neat to see ideas fleshing out how various groups deal with that since we're not just limited to the South and in The Walking Dead. No news on Flight 462, however. That was it.
Oh no.
But didn't you say there was a diorama of Flight 462 at the con?
Yeah, Daryl, you want to talk about the exhibit hall's Walking Dead presence?
Yes, they did like a nice little exhibit of what do you call them, wax?
Yeah, like wax figures, I guess.
Wax figures of The Walking Dead, and I mean, I think the best one was was the leader of the group. Rick. I think Rick was the best one out of all of them. Me.
Yeah, like every year, I know I post pictures on the general our Facebook group of they have like a display for Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead now, where you can people just walk up. There's generally people dressed up in Walker costumes, and there's some kind of set piece from like some signature scene of the season. And this year they had like the camper, Negan, and all of
Negan was good.
and all of the people in front of Negan in the season finale of The Walking Dead were all on their knees, and they had wax figures each one of them. And yeah, a lot of them looked pretty good. Some of them looked bad, Carl.
Yeah,
but
they don't do the kids well. They don't.
But it was pretty neat. Like it was pretty neat to see the representation they had there. As far as Fear the Walking Dead goes, they just had like a piece of the what's it called the fuselage.
Fuselage.
I was like, there's a complicated word that's not just airplane piece. Fuselage.
Piece of airplane.
They had like a piece of fuselage. I can say it now with like two seats, and then there's lockers behind people, so you can like sit in the seats, and lockers be all over, so you can take pictures and whatnot.
How either of you got away without getting a selfie in front of 462 to send to Craig? I don't know.
Honestly,
Because that would have been like the death blow selfie.
it was so hectic and crowded
You
there.
couldn't even get a picture of just the thing itself without somebody's head just going in the way because they wanted to take a picture. So it was kind of.
There's a giant line for the Walking Dead one. Fear the Walking Dead probably easier, but like I honestly didn't piece together that it was more of a Flight 462 thing than a Fear the Walking Dead thing. It just had a giant banner that Fear the Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I don't need to be involved in that for a picture. But then upon realizing, I was like, you know what, that is a Flight 462 thing. That's actually pretty funny. That's the thing they're representing from Fear the Walking Dead.
After all that intensive coverage of Flight 462 that we devoted parts of this podcast to, I mean,
Yeah,
But I did get in the captain's chair for the Enterprise.
there you go.
I
I
saw
saw
that
that.
picture.
That was awesome.
Captain Bertrand.
Oh yes.
What more important was Daryl and I meeting at Comic Con for the first time.
Yeah.
I think that's what counted.
It felt like The Walking Dead with the journeys of trying to get through
I
areas.
was pushing past people. I covered myself in nerd sweat to make sure
That's
I
right.
to protect my sense. It was great. So,
And there's a trick: if you just stand anywhere and just act like you're on a line, people will begin to stand behind you.
I believe that.
I heard Cheeto dust works, or like the crumbs of Doritos at the bottom of the bag.
That's a big part of it. Yeah.
That's good lore I've heard. So.
Yeah, I'm looking at a pic that Renee took of the camper set up there on the Taylor Network of Podcast
Oh,
website.
yeah, Renee got all the.
And yeah, it is super dense of people with all of them with their arms in the air taking pictures.
Oh, and they do mix in, like they did mix in a couple of live zombies.
Yeah.
And on the end.
I threw up some pictures on the Walking Dead Facebook page as well. Straight up of the models. So yeah, okay. So that was the Fear the Walking Dead like panel I was talking about. There's also obviously the Walking Dead panel. This is that was like the opening act, and like the Rock show really started with this one. everybody walked out. The entire cast walked out, including Jeffrey Dean Morgan in character as Negan. He came out on stage. He was dressed in his Negan costume, and he was swearing up a storm. Far more than he'd be allowed to, which was
Awesome.
That was refreshing. He was like, oh, this is the Negan I won't get to see weekly on the Walking Dead, but
Right.
at least he's here at Comic Con right now. So good for him. And this panel, I mean. Okay, actually, there's one anecdote I have about this panel because it's like a basic panel of like there's a couple things actually. It's two things. I'll talk about two things out of this panel. Most of it's just like, hey, all the cast members can't really say anything because we're not supposed to know who got to film what or whatnot. And the ones that weren't there, like Lenny James and Willis McBride, obviously they weren't in front of Negan at the end of last season, but they weren't there, so they can't talk to us about anything either. Okay, so there's two things that happened. One is there was a little kid in line to ask a question, and like not just like a little kid, like 11 years old. He was like probably like 7, and he had like adorable little kid voice, like, oh my god, it's Chris Hardwick, and I'm talking about it. Like, and he was dressed head to toe as Negan.
Oh,
So
man.
little kid, tiny kid, like dressed complete, like his hair slicked back, has a red handkerchief around his neck, has
The Laurie Grimes Award to Parenting
has
goes
black,
to
he had a black jacket, he had a pan, and he had a bat, he had a Lucille bat, and it was,
Oh
like,
my
covered, it was like
God.
covered in blood.
I think I saw that kid walking the floor.
Maybe, and I know Hardwick took a selfie with him, but like kid walks up, and like, what was his question? Oh my god, his question too.
Are you my dad?
Today on Ori,
He had some question. It was like, what was it like to film as Negan, and was it hard? Like that kind of thing. It was both adorable and frightening at the same time. It was like, oh my god, this little kid's dressed to the nails as Negan. So that happened. The other thing that happened was Norman Reedus and Andrew Lincoln. They were talking about this kind of prank war that they seem to have on set, and they even showed us a video. Norman Reedus took a video on his iPhone of him. Yeah, it was a glitter bomb they put in Andrew Lincoln's car, so he turned off the car like it came out through his air blast, like a bunch of glitter and stuff. So they're describing this, and then Andrew Lincoln takes up his hand and he like blows a whole handful of glitter into Norman Reedus' face, and then it all like most of it backfires onto him. So like every time the camera kept cutting to them, you just see them like super sparkly the whole time. So it's hard to take seriously. They're like trying to like answer questions about the show or like your Q&A question, then you just cut to the camera, and they just look like they just got out of some like Ravens RAM. So yeah, a lot of disinformation because they can't talk to us about anything, and the basic questions of like, hey, it's great to be doing the show again, and Ross Marquand was there along with Michael Cudlitz, and they were trading impressions. Ross Marquand was doing.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, Michael Cudlitz apparently does a mean Stallone impression, so they started doing Stallone and Burgess Meredith. Like back
You're a bum, Rocky. You're a bum.
so that was fun.
Seems like an odd year to have a Comic-Con panel because you can't say anything. Like it just
Right,
seems kind of strange.
Well, you want to talk about the trailer?
Yeah.
Russ, what do you think of the trailer for the Walking Dead?
It's about what I expected. In that you got everything. Obviously, I will say this.
it's not a trailer; it's a reflection. As well.
Well, at the beginning,
Somebody gonna die.
yeah, the beginning was.
No.
Obviously, they need to pad it out to make it seem like it's longer than it is. So the first, minute and a half is just that. But I guess there was more Negan in the trailer, like outside, away from that nighttime setting than I thought there would be. I thought the Ezekiel stuff was pretty cool. The fact that there's actually going to do the tiger, so that actually surprised me because I know we'll talk about this separately, but the fact that they had some voluntary layoffs and there's kind of talk about money being a little tight because the ratings are, while still phenomenal, are kind of
It's plateaued.
I have
Yeah.
good times in my head now.
Yeah.
Every layoff.
Yeah. So I was kind of surprised by that, and then the bit at the end, obviously we got Tara and Dr. Dre still running around, so we had to catch up with them a little bit. So I thought it was fine. I mean, like I said, we got a lot more new footage than I really thought. I really thought the whole trailer was going to be recapping what we knew with that, with just random dialogue from the series as a whole for the whole thing. So the fact that we actually got to see some new stuff, I thought was really cool.
You mentioned Dr. Dre, Corey Hawkins, who was Dr. Dre in the Straight Outta Compton film. The dude's getting work. He's on Walking Dead. He's the star of that 24 show.
Yeah,
He's one of the stars in that Con Skull Island movie. Like, dude's getting his jobs done right now.
Better get that work in now.
But yeah, I mean, the trailer, yeah, it doesn't show anything much besides the tease of what's to come. And those are the things I look forward to. I could care less about we need to make sure we show every character and apparently like the good times from their past when it was just a young zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
When they're showing
Remember this?
Yeah, they're showing us what it was fun to be in the zombie apocalypse before it got bad. I can care less about that, which took up a lot of that trailer. And I was more concerned with Carol reacting to being in the kingdom, presumably seeing the first glimpses of Ezekiel, like things like that. It's like, wow, all right, I want to see how they handle this. I know some people were complaining about that tiger. I was like, all right, there's a tiger, sure, let's see. Yeah, all right, they brought the tiger. All right.
People were complaining about it.
There's some people that were like not convinced by the tiger because apparently the show about zombies needs to convince you that the tiger looks amazing. I thought it did look pretty good.
I thought it looked pretty good
The
myself.
AMC budget, giant tiger tigers go.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to TV in general, I tend not to be so harsh on effects unless they're glaringly terrible. Marginally, problematic effect shots on a TV budget don't bother me at all because I'd rather have that than not have it at all. And I mean, you just got to deal with the reality of what it is. It's not a $175 million blockbuster. You just got to reset your expectation.
Yeah, but then it's certainly that's an ambitious thing to try to pull off.
Heck yeah.
And I'm happy they're going for it. I'm also like, wow, all right, that's pretty good.
No, I agree. I totally agree.
Like we've seen the show not deliver on certain. Like, I remember the season premiere of last season when they had like the giant zombie horde and they had, like there's like some explosions I think right at the beginning of the season where it's like, yeah, that could look better. But you're gonna see a tiger.
It's okay to leave some to the viewer's imagination.
Well, they can also just scrap the tiger completely. They're not.
Right, and that's my point. Is like, okay, I'd rather have it not look 100% than not have it at all. Like,
I'm wondering
if
those people that were poo-pooing the tiger have read the comics, are comics fans, because maybe that's the difference there. Because that's what I've been looking forward to for a while now. Is this ever since Alexandria? It's like I can't wait to see the tiger and Ezekiel.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, another season of The Walking Dead. It's something to look forward to. That's all I got as far as the panels go.
Yeah, you make a really good point about that trailer. I thought that's all the trailer was going to be, Aaron. It was just like, remember this good time with this character who could possibly be dying? Remember this line from this character who might be dead, And I thought that's all the trailer was going to be, and I was going to be disappointed. But, they did slip in some new stuff, and I'm glad they did. So
It just has that weight of of them killing a character off, just hanging on it.
Yeah.
Which I think is its own problem that I think we talked about, or at least I talked about on that podcast or that episode. But,
yeah, I think we all did.
Yep.
Has anyone's theories changed or come up with new theories of who the one might be?
No, I still think it's Abraham.
Yeah,
I'm leaning towards Abraham too. So.
Yeah, I've been avoiding like whatever stuff's been popping up involving set photos or whatever. I don't know if anything has come up because I just haven't tried or even ventured into that area. I believe I said it would. I'm pretty sure I said it would be what's his name, Daryl, and still fine with that being the case.
Still fine with that? You're gonna stand by that prediction?
I'll stand by, or just the most obvious. I mean, what is it? Occam's razor or whatever.
Sure.
The most obvious is usually the answer, or whatever, and that would be Glenn. So, I mean,
yeah.
I wonder if there were like odds somewhere, like Las Vegas odds.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
Oh yeah.
I would love to see what the spread is, because like Glenn would be about even money. I think Abraham would be pretty close, probably 2 or 3 to 1. I think like Rick and Daryl would probably be like maybe 20 or 50 to 1 because I don't think they're gonna kill either of those guys off.
No.
I mean, maybe his motorcycle show's doing that well. We don't need them anymore. We can just give his own TV time.
Sure.
What if that's true? What if the night that episode airs, like, by the way, Norman Reedus' Fun Time with Motorcycles will be renewed for 17 more seasons. So don't worry, you'll see plenty of Norman Reedus on AMC. I assume that's what the show's called, by the way. Norman Reedus' Fun Time with Motorcycles.
Sure.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Seems legit. Why not?
I can by that one.
You can quote us.
Have you
helping comic books with Kevin Smith? I think that's his new show that he has with Rick.
you guys have anything else to say about Comic-Con? Any final Comic-Con
There
thoughts?
wasn't a lot of. I mean, it was my first time ever being at Comic-Con, but there really wasn't, to me. I don't know the previous years, but there really wasn't a lot of Walking Dead buzz as I was walking around. There was just different stuff. I mean, if anything, I saw more Marvel and DC movies than anything.
The presence of Walking Dead at Comic-Con, I mean, it's generally confined to like those sets and then like the what's the Image Comics, like but Kirkman has this whole Outcast thing going now, so it's by Outcast I mean he's become the 3rd member of Outcast now, so it's been really busy for him.
Nice.
But his new Outcast series kind of taking over, like in general they've had
Was there? Speaking of Robert Kirkman, was there anything other than the little announcement that we got last week about him because he's bringing the Chronicles of Amber to television?
A lot of Skybound talk. You have to get a panel for Skybound as well. So
Okay.
a lot of that.
Like I mean, yeah, there's generally the panels and then the big display set, and then Image Comics usually has a lot of comic focused Walking Dead stuff. Generally, there's like a giant header, like a huge banner for something. Generally, Walking Dead really this year was for Outcast because they have both the show and the comics, so they had to promote that more. But you can still find all the books, and there's plenty of action figures and like Lucille toys and stuff there.
Right.
As far as like Comic-Con goes, Walking Dead related, no, that's pretty much it. I plug my other show. If you want to hear more about just everything that I was able to see at Comic-Con this weekend out there, and Abe and I discussed everything that I managed to see at Comic-Con, including all the Hall H panels for the movies and whatnot.
Wow. I'm sure that's quite a lot. Usually covered fairly well. I'm not sure able to see.
Yeah, it's I try to get around to see a lot of stuff, so there's a lot of info to go over. And obviously, for people being able to see a lot of those DC, all the like the Warner Brothers footage because they put it all online right away. It was like
super smart.
It's a lot more to delve into. Yeah. But I do have some exclusive Marvel stuff because we did see some Marvel things like Guardians of the Galaxy. That's a different podcast.
Several podcasts.
Yeah, but they finally give Yondu his mohawk.
Yeah, his fin, right?
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Also announced at San Diego Comic-Con. I wasn't there, but I did get to see the trailer for the new season of Walking Dead video game from Telltale Games, and season 3 features Clementine, which at the end of season 2 that was kind of a grim ending there. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I'm glad to see Clementine is still alive. I guess a few years have passed, and there's a new character, Javier. You'll switch between Clementine and Javier through the game. Same art style, same episodic nature as the other games, where they sell like a season pass, so you can buy it in bits. And that'll be coming out before the end of the year for all the major game platforms.
I know we talked about it before it came out, but I think PlayStation had a deal where it was $5 for the Michonne Telltale game, the Walking Dead Michonne. It was like all 3 episodes for like $5 or $6 or something like that.
That's a good deal.
Yeah,
It is a good deal.
I played through the first episode, and it's really good. I think I like the story that they're going with a lot more than even. Well, I think season 1 had a really good story, but this is really cool because it's like Michonne meeting up with another group. They're off on a boat and stuff happens. But
it depicts a certain time in the comics that readers will obviously be aware of as far as where this is set, which is interesting just because the series, the Telltale series, the Clementine based stuff is not set in the. It's set in the comic universe,
right?
As opposed to like the show or anything like that. And this, I guess, is it has something directly tied to the comics as opposed to an offshoot that happens to be in the same universe.
I know the first 2 seasons are amazing, and I imagine this one will be too. Telltale has really been hitting their strides with these adventure games, and I love the art style of these.
Yeah, the art style's really cool.
I really like it.
I said in the past that the Telltale Walking Dead games, these ones, which I haven't actually finished yet. I finished the first episode, and I have yet to play the other 2, and I will finish. Probably get on that at some point. But I said in the past that the Telltale games is my current favorite version of how to ingest Walking Dead, as far as show, comics, or video games are concerned. This is my favorite way to get Walking Dead at this point. And I love reading the comics, and mostly enjoy watching the show. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's strong. One thing that I think Telltale's done, obviously, this is a formula that they're comfortable with. They've done it a lot. I see that they're tightening it up. Like the engine itself looks cleaner. I don't know if you Jim or Aaron, you guys noticed, like even with season 1 of The Walking Dead, they're like weird clipping things, and you see where objects would collide and you get weirdness. Like that stuff even was that way. Even playing The Wolf Among Us, the Fables one. It seems like that stuff has gotten cleaner. It was a little tighter in season 2, but I think it's even more tight in the Michonne game that I've seen so far. Like it really just seems like they've really tightened that engine up. And
that comes with the territory.
Sure.
Advancing as far as the technology goes, or just how to make these games. Where and that stuff can be slightly problematic now. But I've been just pretty impressed with what the writers have to offer for these Walking Dead stories.
Yeah.
They're just doing a fantastic job, as well as the voice actors too. They're doing a good job of conveying as far as the emotion goes for this stuff.
Yeah.
I really care about Clementine, a character that just came out of nowhere in the first season. Is little girl trapped in a zombie apocalypse. And you're like, well, I really want this person to survive.
I wonder if what I haven't heard for season 3, and they just announced this for the Batman Telltale game, is they're going to allow multiplayer. It's something they want to incorporate into the engine. It's kind of, I guess, the next evolution of the engine, where it's almost like decision by committee. So I guess the thinking is if you had 3 or 4 people playing locally, or I don't know if it's over the internet or not, but you could basically play. And I guess if there are multiple people making decisions that could influence the actual decision being made, which I think is kind of neat. I guess if you're playing with 3 people and 2 people chose one and you chose something different, that would actually influence the outcome. So I hadn't heard that being applied to season 3 of The Walking Dead. Like I said, I just within the last couple days heard that as something they were doing with the Batman Telltale game, which comes out here just in a few weeks.
Another one I can't wait for.
Yeah,
literally solid. Batman now. I'm sold.
Yeah,
It's such a good engine for telling a story, and it's not twitchy like a first person shooter or something. There are times you have to make time decisions in a split second, but it's all in service to the story. And I really think it's a good format. They've hit their stride. They've come a long way since their Game of Thrones game. That first season was kind of rough, and but now they're like you're saying, they really have hit their stride with this kind of the structure. And it's cool to see the adventure, kind of old school adventure game in a weird way make it come back.
Yeah, so good on them, Telltale Games.
So other news, we wanted to talk about Laurie Holden.
Oh, okay. Well, what was it, like last month or so? There was a little thing that went up in an interview she did talking about her character saying that she wasn't originally supposed to die in season 3. She said she had an 8-year deal. She was supposed to be there till the end. She says, I was supposed to end up with Rick. I was supposed to save Woodbury on a horse, and I was buying a house in Atlanta. And she was talking about how she got the call while shooting that from the showrunner, who isn't part of the show anymore. She basically blamed it on Frank Darabont, saying that he couldn't write the episode and that he was killing off her character. So that was basically what she said. I mean, it was basically one of those... I don't know if it was sour grapes or not. I guess it was a little bit of that.
If I had to get, because we're talking about Laurie Holden, but Andrea.
Yeah.
I think we've been over this in the show before, but her character is more prominent in the comics than she has been in the show, essentially, and more likable compared to
And still alive in the comics.
compared to what the show presented. Where I recall it's not being quite fond about Andrea and the way the show took her, not on the faults of Holden, but just as far as how the character was essentially
Right. It seems to be more of a dig on Darabont as she praised the showrunner now.
Well, I mean, that whole season 1 through 3 thing, that it was problematic. Or, they're getting out on showrunners and what have you. Where the show, for better or worse, now has Scott Gimple running what seems to be a fairly tight ship as far as the way things are going, regardless of how much we appreciate each episode in each season. But if I had to go, if I had to guess, I think people really didn't like Andrea. Maybe the show just wanted to get rid of her. If she's not a popular character, I don't know if they really wanted to keep her around. That said, we have people like Father Gabriel, who's kind of turned a corner at this point. I'm kind of more rooting for Father Gabriel than I was. That's not like he's been around that long.
You know what I find the most questionable about all of that? Is the fact that she's on the show called The Walking Dead. She knows that they kill more people than cancer, and yet she was looking to buy a house in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Well, she has an 8-year contract.
Yeah, but
I don't know the ins and outs. It's hard to say.
I don't think every decision for someone to be killed off a show is personal. And I think maybe some people take it as personal because maybe she thought she could ride that train a little longer. But
Well, it's an ensemble, so you kind of have the option to when you have an
especially
ensemble.
it's The Walking Dead. If it was the Brady Bunch, that would be different.
Now, the only people that would not, the only ones who could probably be kind of confident that the character wouldn't kill off is probably going to be Rick, if anybody.
Probably Rick and Carl. You could probably
Carl,
yeah.
Rick and
I
Carl.
would say Rick, Carl, and Daryl, but that's just me. But
I would say that, but you never know if he gets a contract thing.
well, true, yeah.
If he wants to be there, I don't see him leaving. But it was a funny thing for her to come out with this interview out of nowhere. Like it was just no context to it. It just
and some time has passed too. It's not like this happened like 6 months after. Like this has been.
I assume she has to be a part of some new show or something for her to just start talking about stuff.
well, there was no mention in the piece about a new show. It just was talking about it, unless they just asked her only about the Walking Dead stuff, and that's all they posted. That was
See,
pretty
what is
much
Laurie
it.
Holden up to?
I can't find anything.
And that made me also think that might be a thing that encouraged her
She's
to.
not a whole lot going on. Like one-off episodes here and there of like major crimes, Chicago Fire.
I was say the interview was from Walker Stalker Con in New Jersey, which is automatically kind of want to be a part of Walker Stalker Con.
Sure.
So yeah, she joins the Vatos and people that were on The Walking Dead and like to talk about it at Comic Con or at various times.
And also they had the other character was killed off as well. What's his name?
T-Dog?
No, not T-Dog. He saved a bunch of kids, and T-Dog was a hero. Always a hero.
What are we talking about?
He cooked good barbecue too. Anyway, no, the guy with the camper. What's his name?
Dale.
Dale.
Yeah, Dale and her were on
Pretty
the same panel. Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
He's been working though. He's been in Billions.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah.
Took him on.
He said, "Yeah, I got a house and I can still pay for it." But what you doing?
Well, he's not going to talk bad about Darabont, I wouldn't imagine, because like he's
like his good luck charm.
yeah. I mean, Darabont does something.
Except for The Walking Dead, because that didn't work at all. Was he in Mob City? Was he in that show or whatever?
Man, I'd be shocked.
No, I don't think he was because I watched that. Well, some of it anyway.
I had all 3 episodes on my DVR for about 2 years, and then my DVR raced, and I wasn't too upset about not watching it. That's the extent I have for that one.
So now you survived.
He was.
Yeah, he was on all 6 episodes.
He was.
Wow.
So TV and Demund, or TV, Darabont, and Demund don't go well. I guess that's the takeaway.
Yeah.
But it looks like
Is the Mist TV show being produced by
I had the other news I wanted to just touch on, since we're talking about like sour grapes and stuff like that, is did you guys see any of that stuff about AMC offering voluntary layoffs to kind of cut down the workforce?
no.
So yeah, this broke, I guess, a few weeks ago. It was, I guess, there's no involuntary layoffs, meaning they're not just starting to cut staff, but they want to trim about 6% of the workforce, and they're offering voluntary layoffs right now to AMC employees. And apparently, it's a fairly big package that they're offering for people that have been there for like 10 or so years. The stock price has been a little down because I guess the ratings for Better Call Saul season 2 were down. The ratings for Walking Dead and Fear, they're like Aaron was saying, they're kind of plateaued. So things are kind of on I hate to say a downward trend because I personally think that the season 7 premiere ratings are probably going to be bonkers.
They will because they have such an in for
Sure.
having people watch because you have to find out who died on The Walking Dead. But yeah, I'm very curious what the first few episodes of Walking Dead will be like as far as ratings go.
But what's the deal? Like they can't they can't raise the commercial.
Yeah, I guess. I guess when your ratings are plateauing and on a downward climb, I guess it gives you less bargaining power, with advertisers.
Does it really have much to do with Walking Dead's ratings, or with a lot of the failed attempts at new programming that AMC has had?
Yeah, I wouldn't even say failed. I think part of it is Better Call Saul did well.
Winter Sun.
Yeah, Better Call Saul did really good season 1. It had a decline for season 2, and I guess this Feed the Beast is not exactly lighting the world on fire like they thought maybe it would.
No one's feeding that beast.
Nobody's feeding that beast. Right? I guess End of the Badlands was kind of the opposite. Like it exceeded their expectations.
But yeah, they got the second season on that, which is, we're talking about some of these shows. It's not like, obviously these cost money, but it's not like Low Winter Sun or Feed the Beast they're not genre shows. They're not shows that are requiring a huge amount of budget. Like, I'm sure it costs, something to do, but it's a TV network. They know how to plan for this kind of stuff.
Right.
So like Into the Badlands, that's a show that requires a level of, there's some expense there that they really have to deal with, and that they wouldn't be, going forward with a whole new season. They were confident that there would be some kind of profit down the line in there.
Yeah.
So it's hard to imagine. Well, what is going on with The Walking Dead? The flag at this point because Mad Men and Breaking Bad are the flagship show of AMC. Like, but even then,
I don't think that they're having a hard time finding sponsors for Walking Dead.
Yeah.
That thing is a merchandising and advertising machine. So
I guess Fear the Walking Dead would be the thing I'd be concerned about because that show, the ratings are amazing for that show.
Well, is it because the show's getting big? The cast's getting bigger, the sets are getting bigger, it's
Yeah.
getting more expensive, and they're not able to get any more extra revenue than they already have.
Well, what's funny too is you got to figure shows like Talking Dead, which
talking Preacher,
which costs nothing. What's probably the biggest expense they have on that show is probably Chris Hardwick.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah, it's
We'll get rid of him.
Yeah.
I didn't say that.
But considering how well those ratings are, even compared to most regular TV shows, the ratings on the shows are crazy. So it's cheap, and I guess the plan is to expand on that too. Like they want to do Talking everything. So I wouldn't be surprised if next season we see like Talking the Badlands or whatever, just because.
Can't wait.
Yeah. So.
Oh boy. It's gonna be awesome.
Well, it's like other networks have obviously copied this pattern too.
Oh, yeah,
Some may think it's shameless, but it's like that. It's not like I'm watching all these. It's not like everyone's being forced to watch these either. So I don't know what they're complaining about. It's not their money, but I get it. Like if people are fans of a show, here's a very inexpensive way to keep the conversation going about that show. Where as much as it's just let's talk about how great we all are. At least there's something for fans to have as an additional bonus that networks can benefit from as well. Like I get the logic of it.
Right. It's their official podcast.
Exactly. It's their podcast.
Right. It's funny because I was reading this article, and as I got down to the lower part of the article, they're like, well, the person who writing it was kind of railing against it because it's basically like a mouthpiece for the network. Like you can't, it can't be candid and it can't be real. It's they're not going to say, well, that episode sucked, but. And I'm like, well, but that's not what it is. Like, the point of the show is for you to hear about the experiences of the people working on the show as they worked on it, to give you some behind the scenes, some sneak. This is like the DVD extras. You're just getting on the front end and not the back end. And so I will
say that with this format, like I think that they do it right with like Game of Thrones. They actually have they kind of reflect back into the episode, maybe tell you things you didn't know because that cast is so dense and thick, But I think where The Walking Dead kind of stumbles, it's like when they just bring in random celebrities to talk about how they feel about The Walking Dead.
To tell me how she cried at the episode. I don't care.
To her credit, she's one of the better guests they have.
I'm not saying
I like it when she's on. I do. But I get the point of what you're saying too. Yeah.
Right. As an example, it's like I go to I do love the talking back, whatever they would call it for Game of Thrones, because it's on that episode. They talk about they even mention things on previous shows that I might have forgotten and missed, and they really have enough analysis on the episode where I'm in. Like it really is interesting, and that's what I want from Walking Dead sometimes.
Yeah, that's why we just do our own podcast, and I write about the show every week, so you get that insight there.
It's just kind of funny that they were banging on it for not like it's like, well, you can't keep it real, and it's like, well, that's an unfair criticism.
It's not a review.
Yeah,
I don't want it real. I just want discussion. Just talk about the show.
I think they do balance it. Like, yes, it's not like because I don't watch it for one thing. Like I see maybe clips some of it sometimes once in a blue moon, but like they seem to be like it depends on like the guests they have on for the week. So if it's like a random person where it's like, let's see how this goes, just to stir things up. That's one thing. But when you have like Gimple on, or you have Nicotero, or you have various cast members, and the show's planned out enough where there's some kind of expensive set, but there's some kind of like creative set piece they want to really expand upon, or like some deeper plot issue that they can dig into, or some behind the scenes clip they can show. Like there's stuff to glean from that. Like you just have to because it's an hour, right? An hour.
Yeah, it's just some of the real estate they waste sometimes on just reaction, or when you go to sleep at night, do you think about zombies? It's like some of those things just
but like the death toll, that's fun when they do that kind of stuff.
I like that stuff.
Yeah. So it's a mix of like some of it works, some of it doesn't. I can't wait to hear what Chris Hardwick has to say about our show on Talking the Walking Dead TV podcast.
So that Daryl guy's a dick.
I'm not talking to Reeves. What else? Any other Walking Dead? There was some casting stuff, wasn't there, not too long ago? Yeah, I think what's her name? Karen Shipka from Mad Men.
Yes.
And what's her name? Skylar from Breaking Bad. What's her name? Anna Gunn. They're both cast for next season of Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Anna Gunn, really?
Yeah. I'm excited for Karen Shipka. She's one of my favorite Mad Men characters.
Yeah.
On that show. So I'm like, all right, cool, right?
I guess I was gonna. One of the things that Jordan and I used to do, and I think Jim, you were on the last one we did. We used to do Breaking Mad, where we'd interrupt the Walking Dead TV podcast like once. I think we did it 3 times, I think, total, where we talk about kind of the AMC stuff that was not The Walking Dead. And so now that we've got Walking Dead and Fear, it's almost year round that we got little breaks in between, but we got some. I was curious, since we haven't really talked about it. What are you guys thinking about Preacher?
I know you guys covered it on the DCTV podcast.
We do indeed.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night we still have to talk about the last 2 episodes of Preacher.
Just overall, just like really high level, just kind of obviously not getting nitty gritty because that's not what it is. I was just curious, if we just.
I'm enjoying it. High level, I'm enjoying it. It started out with a little bit of a slow pace, and the fact that we're in the town for so long, but with what I think is coming up in the next episode, the last episode of the season, is going to be something that kicks off what I've been looking forward to that I haven't gotten yet this season, and that is the road trip aspect. So I think
that's the weird thing with me, because I'm in the boat of other people a lot of people that listen to this show that haven't read the Walking Dead comics, because I have no idea what's happening. I just have to go on each episode, and it still feels kind of slow, which is it kind of feels like Walking Dead did a little bit when some of those problems.
May I engage in a metaphor here?
Yeah, sure.
There's butter. All right, there's butter. Okay, we all know what butter is like. What it tastes like. How delicious it is.
It's
Which
so
is training.
good.
Yeah,
Right.
so-
Okay. It's very good.
Go on.
Okay. There are substitutes for butter, which are very close and approximate and look like and they taste like
I can't believe
butter.
it's
Exactly. That's right, Fabio. Very good. To me, the original Preacher comic was butter, and the show is margarine.
that's a great metaphor. That is a
'Cause
perfect.
it looks and smells and kind of tastes like a Preacher show should, but it's like it's missing the soul and the core that made the comic so appealing to me. And I know, Mike, I'm coming at it from a bias because I read the comic, but it's my bias to have.
That's it. I'll add my 2 cents on this because
Someone writes about it every week.
I read that, folks. Yes, and I have read the comic as well. I think I'm the most positive amongst us here on Preacher. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I am very high on it as far as what it's delivering. I think it started off in a way of like throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks, and sometimes that can be terrible. But I think for this show, because the things that they're throwing at the wall were so ridiculous, it works better than it could. And I think around episode 6, it really kind of centered its focus and really started taking off as far as giving us a great arc.
It's my favorite episode so far.
Now, I will add a couple things. I was at Comic-Con for the Preacher panel as well. I got to go to Hall H for that panel, and what was cool about it was that they did a live read of the previous episode, this week's past episode, episode 9, the penultimate episode of the season, where showrunner Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg were there reading like the stage directions, and they had Dominic Cooper, Ruth Nega, and Joseph Gilgun reading their parts, as well as some of the other cast members, and they had special guests actually, because not everyone was there. So they had Daniel Pennebaker from The Flash,
Cool.
G. Kevin Smith, and Jason Mantzoukas, who you guys might know from their podcast and shows like The League and whatnot. They all filled in for various roles, and so that whole thing was awesome just to hear a script read like live in front of you. If you know how that episode goes, the very end of that episode is quite visual, so they didn't do a live read of that. They just did let's just show the clip of what happens at the end of the episode. So that was awesome. It was like we like heard and just through dialogue what was going on. We got to actually see what was going on in the episode. So it was a cool mix of things, and that was followed by a preview for. It was kind of a preview for the second half of the season as a whole, but I will say, Chumptoad, you are certainly correct in your assumptions of where things are headed. They give you the implication of where things are going to end. And Seth Rogen even made a joke. It's like people think we wish we could have done this 10 hours ago. He's very right about that.
He's exactly right about
But
that.
I will also,
I think. Oh, go ahead, Jim.
That's cool. I mean, I'll probably like the show better once it gets on the road.
Absolutely.
I will also add that Garth Ennis, Garth
Ennis.
Ennis, he was at Comic-Con. He was there on the panel with them. And while obviously, you're not one to like want to badmouth, you want to bite the hand that feeds. It seemed like he was very genuine about how positive he is on the what direction the series has gone. He had conversations with Rogen and Goldberg and with others about how what to probably do with Preacher in order to make it work as a TV series. And he was the one that kind of spearheaded the idea of changing things because he didn't think it would work to do like a straight up adaptation of the comic books. That doesn't necessarily absolutely the way to have gone with it, but when you have an author that's responsible for this work that is as opposed to like Alan Moore who just says no to everything, when you have someone like Kirkman or Ennis that are completely behind it, it does give me some it does make me happier to know that I'm not liking something in spite of somebody else. Like everyone seems to be on board with this kind of adaptation and what that entails.
That's cool, and I have nothing against like a non-literal adaptation. Obviously, I have been watching The Walking Dead this long. I just some parts of it I'm just not, or just some of the moving parts just are not clicking for me yet.
For sure, I can understand that as well. As I said, I read the comics. I am familiar with things that could be a different way, and it's interesting to see what choices they make to not just move things around, but to change aspects of certain characters. But for taking away, because I say this in the writing a lot, I try not to focus too hard on what the comics does versus what the show does. And Jim, I know you're not doing that as well. I think obviously you have a certain thought of how things could be versus what you're getting. But as taking the show in itself on its own, I'm mostly very happy with what they're doing with it. And I certainly like how it's progressed as the season's gone on. As characters have kind of gotten more used to the shoes they're wearing to play certain people and whatnot.
And I get it. And the thing is they couldn't really do a straight adaptation anyway, because I mean, you're talking about a comic that was written over 20 years ago. So there's a lot of differences in today's society. So adapting it there, it's obviously going to be different. But what I think that they've done, and us comic readers will appreciate it down the road more than we are right now, is there's little pieces of information that they have put all throughout these first 10 episodes that we learn later in the comic, and we learn on the road, and we learn through stories that are being told on the road and things like that. That having all this information already, I think will help with the stories going forward. And I think we're going to appreciate it more as the comic readers once we get that.
Well, it has potential, but it's just there are certain motivations of certain characters that are just not. They feel like they're not there yet.
Well, Daryl, in the comic, the three main characters, Cass, Tulip, and Preacher, I mean, the comic is really centered on the relationship between the three of them and the story being told of them three on the road. And right now, it's just all these pieces of the town that they're telling stories of.
And if you'd like to hear more about the Preacher show, you can always tune into DC TV podcast.
Yes.
Where we go in depth on it. So save some of that for our show, guys.
Yeah. I'm just curious, just in general, like I said, whatever. I mean, I enjoy it more than not. I mean, I'll definitely be sticking with it. I'm kind of with you guys, though. I feel like there's just something off with it that I can't quite put my finger on it necessarily. I think the performances are outstanding.
Yeah, not bad.
Gilgan and Ruth Nega are just like perfect. I mean, they both just crack me up. Like,
now, do you have the problem with Dominic Cooper that I do? He just seems like a little too sulky.
Well, the problem I have with Dominic Cooper, and this is, I can't really fault him that much, but living in Texas for the past 30 some odd years, the accent doesn't really hold for me. And
it is fluent, isn't it?
Yeah, and even when it's full, it doesn't sound like a Texas accent. Like he's trying to pull off a Southern accent, but I just don't.
Andrew Lincoln's got that same problem.
Absolutely.
I think Dominic. Yeah, I think Dominic has it. It's more noticeable for me because maybe I think with Andrew Lincoln they kind of somewhat mute it a little bit, like it's not as pronounced. And I think because it's Texas, they're trying to get Dominic Cooper to kind of really lay it on. I think Ruth Nega sounds really good. Like I think her accent comes across pretty well. I mean, obviously. obviously it's kind of exaggerated, but
Yeah.
But living in different parts of rural and not so rural Texas over the last 30 years, there are people that sound that exaggerated. In certain
She's just
parts.
so cute.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the whole Dominic Cooper thing, I just let it go. Like, it's just like, yes, he's never going to sound like a guy from Texas. It's just not going to come out that way. And you know what? I'm past it.
There's I agree with Jim. There's a moodiness to his character, but I think there's a lot. I think I talked to Jim about this when we recorded another podcast for my show. But I feel like the second season of Preacher has like the setup to be like a really good season of television.
Yeah.
And while I think I do like the show more than you guys do in its current incarnation, I am very much looking forward to where things are headed based off what I gather could happen based off the comic.
Agreed. The other show that I'm really looking forward to, and I know it's a ratings dumper, and I'm really shocked that they renewed it, but I really love *Halt and Catch Fire*, and I know it's getting ready to come back. I think in early August, like within the next 2 or 3 weeks. And having just watched *Stranger Things* on Netflix, I growing up, as an '80s kid, like most of us here have, anything like *80s nostalgia really just kind of hits my hot button. So I love *Halt and Catch Fire* so much, and I'm really glad that AMC is willing to give it another season, even though, like I said, the ratings are pretty abysmal.
Are they? Because shouldn't it have already happened by now?
Oh, it's like I keep seeing the ads every week.
Yeah, it's just so yesterday.
I guess I'm going to watch.
I'm the one person watching Feed the Beast, so I see the ads.
Yeah.
I don't even like this show, by the way. Feed the Beast, like it's just like, well,
Does anybody really talk about that show?
well, there wasn't enough cosplay comic for my liking, but
I look for it. But there.
So yeah, so I don't know if you guys watch *Halt and Catch Fire* at all.
Yes, and I love it.
I totally forget about it. I don't even know what it's about.
not Macintoshes.
Yeah, the first season took place in like 1982, and it was basically about the first. It's fictitious, but it's somewhat. It's kind of like one of those where the events in general are kind of how they happen, but the specifics are fictional. And it's about a company in Texas that this guy comes in that used to work for IBM and convinces this small electronics company that they should build the world's first IBM clone. That they should literally, take an IBM personal computer and make their own version of it. And while it sounds kind of boring and mundane, it's really interesting because the personalities involved are. It's one of those shows like what they're doing isn't quite as interesting as the people that are doing it. And so
they don't sell it well enough.
They don't.
I don't know what that. I should know what it's about as soon as I see the promo, and when I don't, that's a problem.
And Scoot McNairy's in it, and he was the guy that was the victim of in Batman vs Superman that was in the wheelchair. That I don't want to spoil it. In case anybody's worried.
He's the main character.
He's the main character.
Oh.
And Lee Pace,
And, the guy, he played
the angriest elf from the Hobbit movies.
the angry self, and Daryl's favorite Marvel villain, Ronan the Accuser.
There you go.
Just made me
I
sad.
assume that's a joke, right?
You just made me sad.
I assume that's a joke, right?
Yes, it's very much so.
Because Ronan's not a very good dancer.
Yes,
No.
not as good as Star-Lord. But yeah, the cast is really good. But and again, it's very set in the 80s period, so it's just kind of funny, hearing about the second season follows things progress and the crew kind of breaks up and they start basically their own BBS, their own bulletin board system where people.
Is this on Netflix or no?
I believe the first 2 seasons are on Netflix. Yeah,
They are, yeah.
and they're short. I think the first season was.
Oh, they're like 13
Are they 13 each? Okay, yeah, they're 13 each. It's just really cool. I mean, again.
So you described it better than they did the guys they paid to
Yeah.
advertise the whole show.
Yeah.
That wasn't huge on it. I kind of gave up, but I do like that cast quite a bit.
It was like I said, season 2 took a really weird turn with the characters and the story, and they kind of pushed forward a couple years. And season 3 is going to be even more of a change. The setting has changed. They're leaving Texas, and they're jumping ahead a little bit more. So it's really interesting. I thought season 2 was better than season 1 personally, and I really like season 1 a lot. So anyway, I recommend it to anybody that hasn't seen it. And again, I think it's one of those things from AMC that they easily could have canned. Maybe they get good revenue off of selling it overseas. Maybe between Netflix and foreign markets and things like that, it makes just enough money to keep it going. Because other than the setting and stuff, it's not like the show's very expensive. There's
right.
They're not blowing stuff up, and they're not the set pieces are relatively few. A couple different office spaces and a house. Yeah, I really like it. So
What was AMC going to do with the shifts
It's
of Walking Dead?
10 episodes, by the way, the different seasons.
yeah.
Well, that's weird. Like, what will they? I mean, Fear the Walking Dead can't go on forever. I mean, eventually.
Well, that's a whole. I've talked about this on the show before, where I think Fear the Walking Dead. I think that's created the issue that the Walking Dead's in as far as the plateau ratings, because the show Fear the Walking Dead clearly not better than the Walking Dead, regardless of how good you think that show is, and it's also not doing great with the ratings. But I think the other issue is that creates a lot of Walking Dead in a year, and I think part of the appeal of the Walking Dead is that you only get it for a certain amount of time, and then you have to wait for more of it.
Yeah.
Fear the Walking Dead takes away having a lot of Walking Dead content, and so people basically get tired of seeing Walking Dead. I think, and I think it makes the show proper suffer because of an inferior show. And so that I think the mix of like a Fear the Walking Dead show that's not amazing, mixed with a Walking Dead show that's giving us a lot of what we basically see already, isn't allowing for it's not making things amazing. It's making the ratings kind of struggle, I think, because of how much Walking Dead audiences are getting in a given year, how much they really care about seeing zombies on a weekly basis this way. And it's 7 seasons into The Walking Dead at this point, so it's like
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah.
I could talk about Feed the Beast, but I don't really want to.
Yeah.
For AMC shows.
Yeah.
David Schwimmer sulks a lot, just like he does Ross, but now it's a drama, and Jim Sturgis does a lot of hands acting.
Yes, he does.
There's a lot of like him because they play like a chef and a wine guy, and they open a restaurant, and like Jim Sturgis' character's got a jail, he's very animated, so it's like you can't see me doing this, but it's a lot of, hey, I thought we had to do this over here, and I have my accent rules, and this is broken accent, it's just the best I can do. Hey, what's going on? He's like moving his hands around all sporadically. So that's
I saw an episode of that at the hotel. One of the cons.
the kind of luxury you give yourself when you want to come on.
Yeah, and I
talk about Feed the Beast.
and it just made me
It's
go.
a cable. That's right now. Living large.
What is AMC doing when I watched it? Like,
It's adapted from like a show from like Denmark, I think.
Yeah, it's a foreign show. That
I see like the kind of the bulletin points it hits as far as AMC drama goes. It has like a offbeat cast, an offbeat tone, some various like plot complications. Like I get the show they're trying to like have here, it's not very good.
Oh well,
It's quirky because it's like, hey, there's monsters and chefs and stuff. That's fun.
and Ross,
And
without
Ross.
Rachel. Without Rachel, what's he gonna do?
I don't know.
And no
And
Joey
on
to
that
talk
note-
to.
no Joey.
Come
And on
on.
that note, do
Is there a
we
monkey? Is there a little monkey?
have any other Walking Dead news?
The Blu-ray's coming out. I believe actually there will be some giveaway stuff for the Walking Dead Blu-ray over at LisaBlue.com. The other site there right for, so I'll be sure to post that on the site as soon as that gets going. But as always, there's a Walking Dead season 6 Blu-ray on its way. I believe it's. Let's see if I can find this real quick.
What's the gimmick this year? What are they-
It's the walker. If you guys remember this, it's the walker that's like it's caught between like a truck, like the back of a truck. It's from
yeah.
it's from like the first episode, I believe, where like they had the giant zombie herd. It's like a walker like pinned between like a truck and a wall or something.
yeah, it's like all white. I'm
Yeah.
looking at it now on Amazon.
I would say it's not the best compared to like the tree one from the previous year.
It's no
The
Wallow
Anton
TV.
Nelson Walker.
It's no heads in a TV with real water.
That's
I was gonna say.
what a horrible joke you made. Jesus.
Too soon?
God. trying to find the release date on this thing. Let's see.
It is.
Oh, it's got it August 23rd. So yeah, around the start of Fear the Walking Dead, I guess. But it's it's got the standard stuff, features wise, some commentaries, behind the scenes stuff.
A little pricey. Amazon wants 149 for that limited edition at this point.
What was last season? How much was it last season?
I never know the price of these things.
I don't know.
I just
know even the
I
one
get it for
with
free and review them, so I don't care.
nice. Even the one with the heads, like I think I saw it somewhat after, like on a discount somewhere for like 49 or 59 bucks or something like that. I was
Walking Dead gives good head. I don't know what to say.
oh,
Oh, okay.
All right, let's
on
wrap
that
it up.
note,
On that note, after classing it up really great.
yes. Anybody else have anything to contribute? So we will be back. I guess at this point we probably won't be back until Fear comes back.
Unless we finally do the All Out War Part 2 episode.
How many
saying-
we need to do that? So Fear the Walking Dead comes back what, 2 weeks?
Oh, I hope more than that.
I think it's near the end of
I
August.
think yeah, it's towards the end of August.
Yeah, I'm not ready for it yet.
August 23rd. August 23rd.
All right,
But it's around then.
I will commit that we will do All Out War Part 2 before we come back for Fear the Walking Dead.
August 21st. Sunday the 21st. The 23rd when the Blu-ray comes out.
Cool. All right. So within 2 weeks, as you hear this, we will have another episode prior to Fear to finally wrap up All Out War because that was fun and we did it a long time ago and we need to put it to bed, especially with Negan coming up.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so we'll do that.
Got it.
And if there's nothing else, thanks everybody for listening. And Aaron, people can find you at the Code of Zeke, correct?
Yeah, you can find me at the Code of Zeke. I write a lot of stuff for a lot of different sites at this point. The Code of Zeke, I do generally a